Sin importar los horrores que encuentres en la oscuridad, ten valor y siga adelante. No hay finales prematuros, no hay decisiones equivocadas, solo hay perspectivas novedosas. Comienzos nuevos. Esta es una historia de amor. Y así entonces vamos a partir con Slay the Princess, The Pristine Cut. No sé si voy a hacer eso o no. No sé si es como un DLC o ya lo tengo. No tengo idea. Pero eso. Esta va a ser probablemente la parte 1 de 2. O... bueno, no lo sé. Vamos a ir viendo. Sin más, vamos adelante.
You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world.
El fin del mundo, ¿de qué hablas? ¿No has pensado que tal vez la única razón por la que quiere acabar con el mundo es porque la encerraron? Pero matar a una princesa estaría mal, ¿no crees? ¿No puede hacerlo alguien más? Olvídalo, no lo pienso hacer. Bueno, las decisiones están aquí, así que parece que me voy a poner abajo. ¿No has pensado que tal vez a mí me agrada la idea que saca el mundo? Chucha, la cantidad de opciones.
I'm talking about the end of everything as we know it. No more birds, no more trees, and perhaps most problematically of all, no more people. You have to put an end to her.
Eso. Iré a la caña a hablar con ella y si es tan mala como dices, quizás considere aniquilarla. Pero no me comprometo a nada hasta que haya tenido la oportunidad de conocerla cara a
Then
cara.
I guess we'll just have to see what happens. But a word of warning. If you go in prepared to hear her out, she could easily trap you in her web of lies. And the more you listen to her honeyed words, the harder it'll be to pull yourself out. Then each and every one of us is doomed. So sure, go, talk to her. See how that turns out for all of us. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade.
Okay,
The
¿y lo puedo
blade
agarrar?
is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right.
Sí, la quiero agarrar.
You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it.
Extraño.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place.
El aire que te recibe es denso y húmedo, percibes el hedor de podredumbre de la madera antigua. Si la princesa realmente tiene que vivir aquí, aniquilarle sería hacerle un
Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation. Good. You're still listening to reason. You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world? Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something? How about you drop the knife and the two of us just talk?
No, podemos hablar con el cuchillo.
Look how reasonable she's being. We should just drop the blade and talk things out. Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster, but killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us.
Es que... ¿Por qué haría...? No quiero esas dos opciones, quiero la tercera. Pero parece que no me dejan. Permiso, un segundo.
The blade tumbles out of your trembling hands and drops to the floor with an unceremonious clang.
Thank you.
Against your better judgment, you step forward to speak with the princess face to face.
Ya, pero es que ahí está el problema. Yo no habría avanzado.
We'll be fine. I don't know what you're hoping to accomplish here, but I can assure you there's no reasoning with her. Just make sure you don't forget about the blade on the floor. You're going to need it.
So here we are. What an awkward start to a relationship.
She hesitates before answering.
You can address me as Your Royal Highness, or Her Majesty. Any honorific should do, really.
Note the lack of detail. You can't trust her. Don't just tell her that.
¿Qué no? ¿Está atrapada?
Is that why they threw me down here? But I don't want to hurt anyone. I like the world, I think. I don't remember much about it, to be honest. I've been down here a long time.
Eso pienso hacer, pero... Quizás se acaba muy rápido el juego, no tengo idea. Si la mato... Quizás hay que volver a jugarlo de nuevo. La verdad no recuerdo mucho tiempo cagado.
Just how long has she been down here?
If I'm supposed to be capable of ending the world, then how did I wind up here, chained to a wall? Have they told you why I'm allegedly so... dangerous?
No.
Ending the world seems like an awful lot for just one person to do. I wouldn't even know where to start.
I believe her.
Tiene voz, yo no, tiene una voz de...
She doesn't have to know how to destroy the world to be capable of doing it.
At the end of the day, whatever the two of us have going on down here is about trust. Whoever sent you to slay me claimed I was a threat to the world, but they didn't tell you why. That doesn't sound right to me. And I don't think it sounds right to you either. Otherwise, we'd be killing each other instead of talking.
She has a point. There's a reason I've been telling you to question the situation, and there's a reason you've listened.
So, I could tell you that I'd lead a quiet life in the woods, or that I'd open an orphanage, or that I'd do any other number of good things that I'm sure you think you want to hear. But you don't really know me, do you? What can my word possibly be worth in a situation like this?
Tu palabra no tiene ningún valor, la verdad. Y tu tono de voz es como que estáis demasiado segura, me da susto.
She's right about one thing.
Suena como profesora de
Her word
inglés.
isn't worth anything.
Like I said, it's all about trust. Blind trust. So do you trust me, the prisoner, the victim, the princess clearly incapable of ending the world? Or do you trust whoever put me here?
She's wrong. This isn't about trust. This is about risk. We stand to lose everything, all for the sake of one person, and a subjugating monarch no less.
La monarca opresora.
Too long. Don't jump to any weird conclusions.
Tal cual.
We're two people who have met each other.
Una
By
zapaco.
definition, we have a relationship.
Ah,
You can't. Don't bother.
I'm guessing you don't have the key then. I'm sure there's a key somewhere around here, and if there isn't... well, we can always put that knife to good use.
de la cara.
Her sharp eyes settle on the edge of the blade. She isn't suggesting what I think she's suggesting, right? She is. I'm sure of it.
O sea, que se quiere cortar la mano, o que me quiere matar a mí, o que va a usar el cuchillo como una maldita... no sé cómo se llaman, pero para abrir la weadita.
Oh, have you decided what to do with me?
You know why you're here. That seems like a pretty good compromise. Leaving her alive is too risky. If you don't deal with her soon, she will find a way out.
One way or another, I'm going to find a way out of here. You can make it easier for both of us if you help.
Pero está muy segura, ¿cómo puede estar tan segura?
And if you don't, I can promise that you'll come to regret that decision.
You have to make a choice. Let's hope for all our sakes it's the right one. You charge the princess, blade trembling in your hand, but you've already lost the battle. She casually sidesteps your thrust before knocking you to the ground with a single blow from her elbow.
¿Cómo?
We shouldn't have hesitated.
But she doesn't stop there. She kicks you a few times for good measure, the pointed tip of her shoes feeling like a pickaxe against your fracturing bones, making sure you stay down.
¿Qué mierda soy? Mira mi mano.
As you lie, crushed and broken on the basement floor, the princess kneels on your throat with the kind of weight you didn't think her slight frame could possibly possess. As you gasp for air, she eyes you with an intense curiosity. You shouldn't have let that fear creep into your heart. You had the upper hand, and now look at you.
Is this really the best you could do? Look at you. Completely broken. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed.
She applies more pressure, slowly squeezing what's left of your life out of your lungs. This is the end, isn't it? I'm afraid it is. Everything goes dark, and you die.
¿Sería muy malo? GG. What? Por capítulo,
You're
yo
on
pensé...
a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is you're here to slay her. I can assure you that you're not dead. And to answer your second question, you're here to slay the princess. I literally... If he doesn't remember what happened, then maybe it's best to keep it that way. You know I can hear you, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. What does it matter what he knows? There's nothing we can do to stop her. she's just going to kill us again. She is not going to kill you unless you let her. But slaying the princess and saving the world is going to be much more difficult than it has to be if you spend the whole time second-guessing yourself.
Pero la traté de matar, pues por eso me mató.
Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. You died last time, which probably only happened because you didn't. Of course we died. We couldn't land a single blow on her, and she broke every bone in our body before she decided. What were we supposed to do to stop her then? What are we supposed to do to stop her now? She's just a princess. Slaying her shouldn't have been difficult, but congratulations. You've been given another chance to actually do this right. And I believe your other question was something along the lines of, oh, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. The princess killed us and now everyone's right back where they started. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself? Or were you instead transported to a different... If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died?
Okay.
Do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think that the princess, left unhindered, brought about the end to everyone and everything, just like I told you she would? If she ended the entire world, why should we even bother? We might as well just walk up to that cabin, break her chains and let her do whatever she wants. It's all the same in the end.
Qué depresivo el derrotado, Dios mío santo.
Just because she's capable of ending the world doesn't mean you're not capable of slaying her. Both of those things can be true at the same time. So chin up. I believe in you. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from
creas
slaying.
nada lo que
Just
dices.
pledge ourselves to her and stop pretending we're capable of doing anything in this situation. She probably doesn't even need to try to overpower. Can we tone down the pessimism just a smidge? I'm not being a pessimist. I'm just being realistic. You're being annoying. Just ignore their bickering, and whatever you do, don't pledge yourself to her. I cannot stress enough how absolutely catastrophic that would be for everyone, yourself included. I agree. If she's wrongfully imprisoned, then we should rescue her, but if he's telling the truth, we shouldn't just hand her the world on a silver platter. Rescue her? Given the stakes of the situation, there isn't really a difference between rescuing her and pledging yourself to her. Either would be terrible. So please try to ignore both of those knuckleheads and focus on saving the world. Let's not make this harder than it has to. If that's what you want, I guess I don't have a say here.
Bueno.
The interior of the cabin is larger and more grandiose than its humble exterior would suggest. The only furniture of note is a massive... The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. Why do we feel so small? We don't feel small. We are small. You walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. What are you talking about? This isn't a wall. It's a mirror. Or at least it'll be a mirror once we wipe off that layer of grime. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. We should count ourselves lucky. Some things are better left unseen.
¿Cachai? Que es como que yo soy el asesino, la buena no es mala, pero como que tengo mala memoria, es como un hombre lobo.
The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a spiral staircase. Its steps almost as deep as you are tall. But it's still a stone basement. If the princess lives here, slaying her is probably doing her Her booming voice rolls up the stairs.
Is that a guest I hear? Don't linger on the stairs. Come down and witness me.
You weren't kidding when you said it was booming. She wasn't like this last time. We need to get down there. She wants us to see her. We need to see her. Should we be worried about your sudden change in attitude? Just a few minutes ago you were going on about how pointless everything was. Now you want to go down there. It doesn't matter what that little voice says. He's not the one making the decisions. Though if his ramblings get you to the princess, they get you to the princess. Making your way down the spiral staircase is a time-consuming and exhausting effort, every step requiring you to clamber over one edge before dropping to the next. But soon the end comes into view, and you tumble to the bottom, entering the vast, temple-like room beyond.
Pero al poco tiempo logras ver el final de las escaleras y te precipitas hasta el suelo, donde encuentras una inmensa habitación con forma de templo.
The princess towers over you, almost glowing in the weak starlight, her figure framed by a stained glass window. Her long hair billows around her, and a chain binds her wrist to... The chain is nothing to her. It might as well be a toy for all the good it would do. I told you it was pointless to resist her.
The little bird has returned to me. I wonder what he wants. You brought that knife again, even though you know it's useless. Such charming audacity.
What?
Drop it.
As if on command, the blade slips from your grasp. It clatters uselessly to the floor. But we didn't drop it. We decided to grip it tighter, remember? Are you really just going to let that happen to us? I have a duty to report facts as facts, and the fact is that you dropped the blade. Of course we dropped it. She's so much more than us. You wouldn't understand what it feels like to be in her presence. Oh, I understand what's going on, and you'd better snap yourself out of it.
Kneel.
No.
Oh, are you still trying to defy me? I said kneel.
Your legs buckle, and your knees hit the floor.
That's my good little bird. Now, why don't we talk? The last time we met, you told me I was destined to end the world. That thought wrapped itself around my heart. It has pulled at me since the moment I squeezed the life out of your broken lungs.
Wow. Se veía cariñosa en un principio.
I could feel its fundamental truth awaken me. The collapse of the old is a necessary prelude to the birth of the new. And the world as it is now is overdue for alterations. It's time for me to seize my destiny, and you, little bird, will help me seize it.
Well, that gives away the game, doesn't it? It certainly does. And beyond that, it more than lends credence to our conversation in the woods. I don't love the thought that in some other reality you failed to destroy her, but what's done is done. I can only hope it helped you learn a valuable lesson. You are the only one who can deal with her, and if you don't, well, she's let you know what will happen, hasn't she? Then you shouldn't have trusted us with her destruction. She is inevitable.
No pueden sentirlo.
He's being melodramatic, but he's not exactly wrong, is he? What are we supposed to do to stop her? Okay, first things first, you're going to have to stuff those pessimistic thoughts someplace far, far away and commit yourself to what needs to be done. The stakes of the situation should be perfectly clear to everyone now. If you're going to save the world, you have to have faith that you can pull the...
Ah, el clic derecho, Dios mío. Que pueden lograrlo. No se puede ganar una batalla que uno ya da por vencida.
This isn't about desire. This is about what I am. And I have little interest in discussing destiny with one that cannot see the divine truth that shines in my heart. Know the limits of your privilege, little bird.
Pero qué hija de...
There's an empty place at my side for you to fill, if you'll have it. But it is not a place for an equal. It is a place for something worthy to be kept. A priest, perhaps, or a pet.
Ni cagando. ¿Qué, ¿Cómo va a ser la mascota de una tirana chuche su madre?
All you have to do is break these chains. I say, perhaps you need another lesson in submitting to your betters. Pick up that needle.
Do it. It's what she... No objections here. I don't know what she's planning, and I don't like that we don't know what she's planning, but as your eye falls on the blade, you feel a weight. Some divine hand that sits unperceived by your senses, but that manages to push you towards its desires like an unseen puppeteer. You reach forward and grasp the blade.
Stand.
This one's easy. See? Okay, yeah. We can do that. We were probably going to stand anyway. You can feel a creaking tension between body and will as you slowly rise to your feet, like two foes forced into an unhappy truce. The princess eyes you with soft contemplation. The moment seems to last a lifetime, the silent anticipation of what's to come, dragging out the long, painful seconds.
Ya no puedo, ya me va a matar.
But all silences are broken eventually.
Ya me va a matar y no sé... Estoy tratando de matarlo.
To define me is to claim we stand on level ground. We do not. You are quiet shadow, while I am brilliant radiance. Take that knife in your hand and slit your throat.
What? You don't have to listen to her. You're armed. Just steel your nerves, step forward, and end this.
No acuerdo.
Oh, we'll end this all right. Your hand lifts the blade and brings it towards your throat. Okay, I apologize for the unclear language. End her. Your body is sluggish and unresponsive, actively fighting against you, but you do your best to stagger forward. One step at a time, you move.
Slitting your throat would have been a mercy, but it seems you're in need of a harsher lesson. Plunge that knife into your lungs.
I'm sorry. Don't. As you take another step forward, the blade digs into your ribs, slicing through flesh with ease. It somehow feels like an entirely natural thing to do, while the simple act of walking has become an arduous impossibility. Then it slides back out, the wound burning as a small hiss of air escapes through the fresh orifice. Blood fills your lung.
Now, do it again. Keep doing it until I give you permission to stop.
Those are just words. You don't have to listen to her. It's what she wants.
Este weón, que no sé qué es, parte de mi conciencia, me tiene pa'l loli.
You, heroic one, what are you doing? Don't just let this happen. Stop him from killing you. I'm on it. Your other hand locks around your wrist, struggling to keep it from perforating vital organs. but the blade still flails towards you, managing to slice bits of skin that plop to the floor to join the growing pile of blood.
What a pitiful display. A wounded little bird thinking it can defy a god. It doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to hurt so much. You can choose a gentle end. You can choose to leave that punctured vessel for the next. Or you can pathetically struggle against yourself until the floor of this temple is painted with the bloody impressions of your futility.
You continue to approach the princess, even as the repeated gouges of your blade expose bone and muscle to the open air of the basement.
You know, this would be a lot easier if you gave us a hand.
My influence only goes so far, and I can only juggle so many things at once. The best I can do right now is to continue to drive you forward. Believe me, this whole ordeal would be so much easier if I didn't have to contend with free will.
You're the one making things difficult. You're the one making us hurt. She doesn't want to hurt us. She's just doing what she has to.
Stop.
As you finish crossing the room, you fall to your knees at the princess's feet, your chest heaving as your blood pools in the crevices of the stone floor, the coppery taste coating your throat. The princess kneels down, lifting your chin with her finger as her face lowers to yours.
Your devotion is misplaced. You've surrendered to delusion. But something about your defiant spirit speaks to me. You are different than you were before. Perhaps, if you've learned your lesson, I can spare you from the release of death.
That's a little demeaning, isn't it? Yes, how thoughtful of her. It's a mercy. Take it. I think he's given up whatever say he had at the start of all this. At least one of you is
Concuerdo.
saying. She's within striking distance, and she's only negotiating now because she knows you have what it takes to put an end to her. Seize the moment before it's too late.
No.
Yes, though your body trembles, struggling to defend itself in the face of the princess's overwhelming will, you finally manage to break through, darting to her side before she can react. The wind of your freedom rushes through you, and you channel it into a decisive blow, stabbing into the soft flesh of her ankle
Hey,
and
tengo
severing
plumas.
the tendons in an act of unyielding defiance. She falls to the floor, crashing
La cortada de tendones
unceremoniously to her
horrible.
knees. But you don't give her any time to recover. Your heart pounding with determination, you plunge your blade into her chest.
De nuevo, dice eso, perdón. Wow.
As you find your target again and again, she laughs, crude emotion breaking through her once stony composure as your blade cuts her flesh. We can do this, can't we? You always could. The decision to give you this task was not made lightly. You're here for a reason.
It's not too late to pick up the pieces. It's not too late to toss that blade aside and beg for forgiveness.
Shut up.
I can't believe you would actually strike me. You heathen! You worm! You defiler! You don't know the consequences of your arrogance!
Before you can strike the final blow, the princess lashes out, knocking you off your feet. There's an unsettling wet pop as your spine breaks, numbness and pain spreading through your body. As you rebound towards the
quebró
ceiling
la
in a moment of
columna.
disorientated lightness, she drives her fist in. Your body is crushed as she pulverizes you into the floor, the ground itself breaking from the impact. You lie there, broken, beyond pain, unable to even see what she's done to you. But the princess is succumbing to her own wounds as well. She looks down upon her body in abject horror and disgust.
You made me use my hands. I can feel myself twisting into something new, something dull, something defiled. What have you done to me?
You're monsters and conspirators. I can't bear to watch them.
The princess has been nothing but cruel to you. You should feel liberated by her fall.
But I don't feel liberated. I feel empty.
Aside from the pain, I feel fine. She collapses to the floor. Her glassy eyes watch, unblinking, yet somehow still full of anguish and fear, as the two of you perish together.
¿La maté?
I suppose we were never gonna get a happy ending here, were we? Don't let those be your final thoughts. You saved the world. That's worth something, I guess. Regardless of how you feel about it, it's finally over. Thank you. Everything goes dark, and you die.